Welcome to the Topsail Insider Podcast, where locals, vacationers, and those looking to relocate to the greater Topsail area can hear all about the wonderful businesses and events in our beautiful coastal Carolina towns, including Hampstead, Topsail Beach, Surf City, North Topsail, Holly Ridge, and Sneads Ferry. Coming up, a fascinating interview with a singer-songwriter who, after finding a great deal of success in the music industry, now calls Topsail home. Her songs can be heard in over 165 TV shows and movies and are still going strong. Stay till the end to hear a beautiful acoustical version of Ready to Rise. Hello everyone, welcome to the Topsail Insider Podcast. My name is Christa and I am your host. Today, I am interviewing Miss Vaughan Penn. She's a singer-songwriter, recording artist, and producer.
Out at 40 degrees. Nothing's gonna stop her from a day at the beach. Drive all night up at the light of dawn. Just a pot of coffee, cigarettes, and then she's gone.
Hi, Vaughan. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you, hon?
Doing great. And can you introduce me to this handsome gentleman beside you?
I guess since people can't really see, we have to describe him.
Oh my gosh.
He is very handsome, I would have to say. He's sort of my right hand everything, my left hand everything, my muse, my promoter, my fiance, and he's just helps me find my way. What can I say?
She says that now, but in private she refers to me as her Danny DeVito, and I don't even know how to take that. But it's fun to be here. We love what you're doing. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you both for being here. I really appreciate it. I just want to say that I feel kind of honored to sit here with someone who's had such a strong career in the music industry, because breaking into the entertainment industry, period, is very difficult. But you have had a lot of your original music featured in a lot of TV shows and movies. Can you tell me about that?
First of all, we like to support you and your podcast, and we like to support all the locals and all the people that, you know, have businesses here in this on this island, Topsail Island, Surf City. And we've been around the world and toured around the world, but here we land, and this is the beautiful place to land, if you ask me. You know,
Absolutely.
I have been really blessed with film and TV through the years. I've had quite a number of song placements, licenses, and soundtracks over the
Can
last
I name
20.
a few of those?
Sure, go right ahead.
So we're talking about Grey's Anatomy, Bones, Criminal Minds, The Hills, Laguna Beach, The L Word, Nurse Jackie. These are huge shows. How does that feel?
First of all, I do think God is the one who brings us our opportunities, the one who also writes the songs. So I will have to say it's all God. I got really blessed. I found one music supervisor that liked me a lot, and it was the way it branched out for me through this one music supervisor. And timing, really a timing thing. I got in at the wave with film and TV before everybody really wanted to do it. I think Lisa Loeb had a song out, I Miss You, Reality Bites. You remember that 20 years ago?
I do, yeah.
So when I heard that entitled song, when I heard her sing, I fell in love with her, and I went to look her up, and she didn't have a record out yet. She didn't have an album.
Oh, wow.
She first got this entitled deal, but then they made an album on her. But I thought, wow, I wonder if I could do something like that. So I had a little dream to try to break in through film and TV way back in the day, instead of trying to do it the standard way with a record deal and stuff.
Gotcha.
So I got lucky.
I know that you have also opened up for some pretty big musicians. Can you talk about those a little bit?
That was a God thing too. I was very blessed in a particular arena where they really liked me, and they kept hiring me to open for their big acts. It was at the Cary Amphitheater. This was a while back, about 12
Where's
years back.
that?
It's outside of Raleigh, and it's it's a beautiful venue. So I got asked to open for Huey Lewis and the News. They were so friendly and awesome on the big stage. And then I opened for Amy Mann, Voices Carry. That was a really big moment for me because I always loved her voice. And
Same.
Side stage on Darius Rucker and Melissa Etheridge. So I got a lot of good exposure then. And then when I did a tour with China Phillips, we opened for a lot of Christian acts like Brandon Heath.
I love that.
And Matt Maher.
Sweet.
It was a good time.
So speaking of China Phillips, you were also on Good Morning America, correct?
Yes, we had a band called China and Vaughan. We met through her stepfather, who wanted a song for his movie he was directing. And he thought we should meet. So I went out to LA and I met China over lunch. And we instantly bonded like girlfriends.
Oh my
gosh. And, we had an instant connection. And she said, you've got to come stay in my guest house and let's see if we can write. So we started writing together, and before we knew it, we had organically put a record together, and she wanted me to take her in the studio. So I did, and we cut this record, then we got this record deal with Provident Reunion Records, went out on tour, and with Blue Tree and New Song, and then Sean and I did Good Morning America. It was like a 3-year run.
I've been busting my chops to stay alive, working hard from 8 to 5 every day, and lately I've been wondering, better hurry up and slow down this pace, step out of this rat race to keep myself from stumbling.
Okay, Tommy, so let's talk for a minute about how the two of you met.
Sure. You want to tell the story? He had a chocolate store.
I had a chocolate business. I lived pretty much my whole life in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I grew up in the candy business. And when we sold the business, I had always had this kind of dream of having my own chocolate item. And it was before Shark Tank. It's one of these things where... So I developed a thing called Choco Notes, or Sweet Distinction, which was basically a chocolate greeting card. And it did well for a while. And at one point, we were working on a licensing deal with Kathy Ireland, the former swimsuit model, who is now she's right up there with Martha Stewart. And I had this little chocolate shop. I would use the space as a flex space for the Arts Council. So quite often we'd have musicians or art exhibits or different kind of functions. And I had a friend that came through and said that there's this young lady, Vaughan Penn, who is doing a radio tour, and she's going to be coming through Toledo. Would I want to do a fundraiser in my shop with this Vaughan Penn? But Vaughan Penn walked into my store with a promoter from the radio station, and I heard her play a little bit, and we very quickly put together this fundraiser over coffee. And from that point forward, I was desperately trying to find a way to get out of my business because I had met my soulmate, and I was going to go where she went. So that's how we got together. And it's just been a wild, marvelous ride ever since. That goes back almost 9 years.
8.
Okay.
But who's counting?
Yeah. So that's how it all came to be. I'm creative on the visual art side of things. I got involved with helping her promote, designing her CD covers and album covers and doing her social media. So that's how we teamed up.
But we fell in love, and we came to visit here. And it was just supposed to be for a visit to Surf City. And we couldn't leave. We just kept coming back. And for the last 7 years, we've just called it home. It's like I finally found my tribe. I finally, after going all around the world, it came back to here.
Okay, so let's talk about your history, Vaughan. Where were you born and raised?
Let's see. I was born in Radford, Virginia, and I went to New York and lived till I was 6 years old. And then we moved to Madison, North Carolina, tiny town outside of Greensboro, and I was raised there before I grew up and hit the road and went to college and Appalachian, but then started singing and touring and all that at a kind of young age.
Okay, so how old were you when you started singing?
Oh, probably 12. As far as my first gig, it was with the Sugar Shackers.
The Sugar Shackers.
That's
Tell me
I
about
remember
that.
the name of the band. It was my uncle Randy's band. He was my first influence on guitar. And
So you come from a musical family.
My mother's a great jazz singer. And
Okay.
my father's a great sax player. They met when they were teenagers.
Oh, really?
And she's got a classic, beautiful time period voice. Just sounds exactly like the 50s.
Oh, I'd love
and
to
the
hear
40s.
that.
I have recordings I can send you.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
They're amazing. And then all my sisters sing. So we grew up doing that. It was
All
part
your
of the
sisters?
DNA.
How many do you have?
3.
3 sisters. And all 4 of you sing?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's a musical family,
Right?
all right?
You had to do it. For me, it wasn't any other choice but music. I didn't really have any other. It was just like music. As soon as I got my guitar and I could write.
Do you all play musical instruments?
I play a little piano, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of bass, but mostly guitar and, yes, a little saxophone.
When you ask, does she play musical instruments, for instance, there's a couple songs that she wanted in the background accordion. We don't know any accordion players. She found a Craigslist accordion, bought it, and within 20 minutes had learned the parts for the song. Now,
Oh my gosh.
it's the same. It's hilarious. So one of the real joys for me, because I love music, but I don't know how to create it, is she's always said the songs come from God. She is the channel. I've witnessed this countless times, and my responsibility is to get out of the way. But when she sits down at the piano, she doesn't know what notes she's playing. It's really like a channeling type thing.
It's a gift.
So, yeah. So it doesn't matter if it's a
you're gifted.
saxophone, a clarinet, a piano, or an accordion. She doesn't know what she's doing.
I don't.
But somehow it happens.
If
And
it
so
point to, it's a channel thing. We just
it's
gotta
crazy to
get
watch.
in the right space. And it comes through. I think all creativity is like that for the most part. The better stuff from me is that way. If I make it happen, it's not going to have that same goosebump thing, maybe. So I just
But if
try to
you can
wait for
pick
it.
up an accordion and play it within 20 minutes, I mean,
Well, I mean,
God
I think
has
you might
given
have-
you a wonderful gift, and it's
was
beautiful
very
that
heavy.
you're using it. Yeah, it was very heavy. Is that what you
It's-
said?
One of her songs that I don't know if you're playing it today, but she wrote and recorded down here called Carolina Island Girl. She wanted steel drums. We don't know any steel drum players. Was it birthday or Christmas? I bought like the cheapest steel drum.
Oh.
She goes down in the studio back in Dallas, North Carolina. Within 15 minutes is playing the part for her own song on a steel drum. She's never even
That's
hit
not
one
hard,
before.
that.
She
Accordion's
says
hard.
that, but when she's not around, gone down and tried to do this. It's not easy.
Just a little bit of different instruments to write on. I like to play harp, but I would never call myself a really great harmonica. But I do like to play it, and I like to write on it. It's just every instrument has a soul, and you just got to line up your soul with it and let it do
That's
its
so
thing.
cool. Really cool.
Something like that.
You write your own music, you write your own songs. So tell me about the process of writing the lyrics and where that inspiration comes from.
Okay. A lot of times my words will come from conversations. We'll go out to hang out with our friends and hear people talking. And you don't mind if I take that one line and put it in this first verse. It might be a standard line, but it inspires me enough. So everything is like one word at a time, one line at a time, one note at a time until the rush comes. So like it'll come for me in like little driblets, or something might pop in my head, a title maybe, and I'll write it down. A melody will come to me in just a single little driblet, and I'll put it on my voice memo. My voice memo is filled with just things that other people wouldn't understand. And then one day you look at like the 20 pieces that you just put down, and all of a sudden the puzzle makes sense, and then it comes together, and then it's a song. So it's like little pieces usually, and then it comes
That's great.
something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of intellect for me behind it. It's more like a lot of feeling. And then the intellect comes through the feeling instead of the other way around.
Okay, so you were back in Madison, North Carolina. What led you out to Los Angeles?
I was working with David Z from Paisley Park, who worked with Prince a lot. And we went up there and did some recording. It's a famous studio that Prince has. It's Prince's
Okay.
studios. And the manager of those people also was working with me. And I got some interest at Modern Records, which was Stevie Nicks' solo label, distributed through Atlantic. And so the guy that ran that label got behind my career for a bit and flew me and moved me out to LA. And so we started recording and with that label at first. So that's what got me going.
Now, how did you like Los Angeles?
I liked it when I had something already planned to do, like that small record deal that kind of got me out there, paid for it because it's expensive. But while we were waiting to finish the record, my neighbor was working on some acting things, like some sets. And I thought that sounded cool.
It's
And
exciting, yeah.
Yeah, so he took me over to Central Casting, did some union thing, and started doing background stuff on sets while I was waiting to do the record. But later it helped me because I had connections for my film and television later that I got. And I worked on ER for about a year, and George Clooney was really good to me.
Whoa, wait.
Michael.
No, we're not going to blow past that. Okay. I
There
want to
was-
hear, you worked with George Clooney for a year?
A year and a half maybe on that show, ER. He was just so sweet. It was before he became really big. It was one of
Okay.
his first breaks as an actor. And so we bonded on the set because we're working together all the time. He was very sweet to the extras and the background artists.
What
and
were you
stuff.
doing? Were you acting in the series?
Pushing the gurney, like in scrubs and stuff, like a
Okay.
surgical assistant
Uh-huh.
or whatever I needed to do for the scene. So I was like a background person.
How
But that's how I got to
exciting.
know the director of that. The first AD sent my music to a music supervisor, and 5 different people sent it to the same supervisor, but I didn't know that. And so it was a God thing. After he heard from 5 different people, then he listened and we bonded and we started working together for 20 years.
I lived in Los Angeles for a little bit, and so
Yeah.
I saw what happens and goes on in the industry because
It can be very tough.
it's a little crazy out there, and it's a dog eat dog world.
Can
And
be.
so being here in North Carolina, it's just such a big difference. And
It feels more gentle.
it is more gentle.
I didn't stay long. I mean, I was there like 3 years, and I did a lot of background work and worked on a lot of TV sets and stuff. And then the record label lost their distribution deal with Atlantic, so they didn't finish the 6 artists they had signed. So I didn't put a record out through that. But I met a lot of people, and I think I got in and got out just in time. for me to 20 years later get back to in touch with people to get film and TV going.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually it wasn't that long. It's been 20 years now. So it was 5 years after I left town, but it helped by living there a little bit,
So,
just enough.
so you didn't have to get out there and get chewed up.
No, I wasn't going to stay. I wasn't going to stay in the chewing.
You got in, you made your connections, and you got out.
That's exactly what. And just like the hospital, go in, get something done, and leave. Don't stay too long.
So when you're here, you're still working with the same people.
Yes, I am,
Just in a sweeter environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
I'm the same exact connections as I made.
That's
back then.
amazing. That's really good.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I wanted to find out. So a lot of people do dream about going to a big city and trying their hand in the music industry or the entertainment industry. What advice do you have? Because we have a pretty strong film industry here in Wilmington, and I know a lot of people in there trying to break into that. What advice do you have for anyone who's looking to go in that direction?
Well, these days people are lucky because we have all this digital help and you can shoot a movie on your iPad or your phone. So it's a different world. But I've always believed in create yourself, own your own thing. So I was advised a long time ago to own my own masters in publishing. So I did that one deal, but once I got out of that, the rest of the time I own my own work. And so if you can own or co-own your work and then try to not give it away to people that might say they could do something for you, but don't have a current track record. So I just try to create it yourself, fund it yourself, and own it yourself.
Okay.
Just like it probably unless you can find the perfect co-venture. Of course, you're open to the big person, but you want to trust them. So you want to work with people that have good hearts. You got to do your due diligence and trust, and then check people out. Do they have current track records? There are a lot of companies that still try to get control of people's stuff. So I would be leery of that. Try to get your own direct connections. Ken Cragen, who used to manage Trisha Yearwood, has a book out called Life is a Contact Sport. Okay. And to me, that is one of the most important things about any business is your personal relationship connections.
Okay.
And even if you just nurture one really the right way, it'll grow a garden. So I think not being a number and not just going through the system, you hardly ever find the right job just doing it that way. It's usually always networked. So I think networking is hugely important. Genuine networking, not Usaria's networking.
Good advice.
Nurturing.
I like that. Thank you.
When bought shorts and flip-flops, sunscreen, tank tops. I got my cooler filled with cold beer, ready for some island race.
I want to talk about Vaughan Penn and the Chill Cats.
Oh.
Yes.
I love that band. That's my roots, and my parents, of course, giving us the jazz influence from the beginning. My soul also resonates singing jazz music like my mom.
I heard you online as I was looking you up, and it was really beautiful music.
Thank you.
Really beautiful.
When I get the opportunity to do that, it reminds me of the way I was raised. It takes me back to my roots. It's full circle, and it's my grown-up side. Not my flip-flop and tank top, but my high heels and party dress.
Yes.
Because it's important to have both sides in life.
Absolutely.
Your yin and your yang of music. What were you going to say?
I just love everything about what she does because in a way, she's a chameleon because she is so talented with any genre that she picks up. If it's an original jazz song that's been in a couple movies to writing a country drinking song, when she does it, the finished product is unbelievable. So just sitting here listening to her recount how she came to be, I know her as well as anyone knows her, and it's still
Are you falling in love
remarkable.
with her all over again?
I fall in love with her every day. And you know what? One thing, this is funny because she gets embarrassed by this stuff, but I've known her for almost 9 years. We spend an awful lot of time together. I'm very familiar with what she does and where she came from. And almost every day I discover another nugget. Oh, really? You were in episode 3, season 2 of Seinfeld? Huh. So then I go online and I find it. And there's the clip. It was Frasier too.
Oh, yeah.
Because Miles hit on you as he was coming into the restaurant.
Tiny itsy bitsy part.
Right.
Itsy bitsy.
So part of the fun stuff with this, because she's like the Forrest Gump of indie artists, because it's almost unbelievable all these things that she's done. And like to find her in the movie Nutty Professor for 5 minutes laughing at the jokes and the comedy. It's just, it's fun.
Really?
So she's embarrassed about this stuff, but it's fun to see everything that she's done. It's unbelievable.
I've just tried to stay true to following my heart and following where my muse takes me. So it might not be a linear list where people have, use their head to figure it out. I literally, it's almost like a compass. My heart might say to do this for 3 years or this for 4 years. It's like being, I don't know, like an art heart compass. So I would go goofy places. People it wouldn't make any sense, but then I'd get blessed, or my music would be used, or all of a sudden a bunch of new songs would come out that would help someone. So I live my life. He calls me Lucille Ball or Forrest Gump, but you're probably right. He's probably correct. You're right about that.
Let's talk about the Vaughan Penn trio. Tell me about that.
That's usually whoever I put together with me as a trio. Now, we got really blessed the last time, and we had a guy named James Brock, which is the son of Jim Brock, a very well-known and amazing drummer out of Charlotte. And I was accompanied by my studio partner, music partner, David. But I don't really know if we play as a trio that much, do we?
Depends on what configuration. Right here at the beach, there's a young lady that lives on the island named Holly Fusilli. And for a time, she was David Allen Coe's touring drummer.
Yeah.
And she's just this kind of cool
She's
chick.
great, yeah.
And occasionally they'll do a trio thing down here where I guess you call it Surf City Queens, where it's Kim Chase on saxophone, it's Holly Fusilli on cajon, and it's Vaughan doing the guitar harmonica vocals.
So we do that.
And it's unique on the island because it's 3 chicks and they're doing this fun music. So
I like
that's
that.
one of the versions of the trio.
That's right. That is a trio that we do sometimes.
It's refined in a very unrefined way. It's very Surf City.
I like the way you just
yeah, right.
And what about Meeper's Music Records?
Yeah, that was my favorite kitty cat before I had 2 other favorite kitty cats. Her name was Gracie Meepers, and she influenced my label. And we had to put, I guess I had something in Kicking and Screaming, Will Ferrell's movie. And at the end, you had to use your record label. So I originally named it Meepers Music because we had the Will Ferrell movie. And so there were some soundtracks too, but Meepers has probably done about 10 soundtracks by now. And we most recently, what was the most recent soundtrack? American Girl? Yeah,
Well,
American Girl.
was huge.
Did you ever hear of American Girl Doll?
Yes.
Okay, my song was Isabel Dances into the Spotlight. That was about 8 years ago. It was the main song for the promo. It kicked off the movie, and it was the kickoff song of the soundtrack with the rest of the Disney artists. So that's a big one I forget to talk about. So here I am, a grown person at this time, and I'm not going to tell my age, but way grown, and they're picking my music for 9-year-old girls to kick off the soundtrack. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Only you would know how to use my young spirit in that way.
I love
and it's just like
that.
crazy stuff like that. And that's the Forrest Gump part he's talking about.
Yes. Oh,
I mean,
now that he's mentioned that to me, like I'm hearing it all over the
It's
place. So
just
yeah, that
random,
time that I
but
worked
no.
on this movie and that movie, I was like, that stuff is a really big deal.
It's not random, but it seems random, but it's
So
not.
this sort of stuff is just kooky because then, like in 2016, there was an Oscar-winning film called The Big Short, and it was about the financial collapse and it had Brad Pitt. It was a blockbuster deal. They selected one of her songs to put right in between Led Zeppelin and Metallica.
Unbelievable.
So right in between,
Yeah,
there's
you're
this sweet little
really
Vaughan.
short.
But here's the thing:
It
it's
got cut.
not real prominent in the movie, but forever she's paid royalties in perpetuity, and it's because she owns her publishing. This music supervisor can deal directly with Vaughan, the artist. It's
Gotcha.
not split. We've got
Bunch of different
friends.
people.
We've got friends that have credits for #1 country chart-topping Kane Brown songs on country radio, and yet they're one of 9 writers. And when it's all said and done, that's a very difficult thing to license because everybody has to sign off on it. And by the time the money trickles down, it's pretty diluted.
Complicated.
So
So they don't like to have to do that in the business.
That's very
she was
smart.
very smart with how she did this because she controls her own destiny. It's very wonderful. And she also has no one else to blame but herself if it's not going great because she owns it all.
Right, exactly.
Good
That's
point.
right.
That's right.
And you also do a lot of voiceover work. Is that right?
I used to.
Oh, you used to.
I used to do it whenever I could because
Is
it's
that-
just another way to make some money and use your
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
Do you record that here and ship it off, or were you doing that in Los Angeles?
I was doing it in North Carolina at the studio where I'm part of the production team, Traffic Sound. And I got my fancy mic there, but you don't need a fancy mic. These days, voiceovers, everybody uses their voice. This is a whole different thing. But back then, 10 years ago, it was still an announcer voice was popular. But now they're using anybody's voice, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, it was just a good way to support other local businesses and be a part of it, either writing the jingle or the voiceover work. Just another way to make an income.
You
using
also
your
wrote the
voice.
jingles as well?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Did you enjoy that work? Was that fun?
I love any time I can have a microphone for the most part. And most of the time. And my parents did that to me at 2. So it doesn't feel like work if I'm on stage or if I'm writing something and recording and singing. It's just the only way I've ever really known how to be. It's the only thing I've ever known how to do.
And just being a well-rounded artist, you also paint as well, right?
I did for a little phase during COVID because it was like nothing going on. And all of a sudden, maybe a lot of people felt this. You had more time to develop another maybe artist side of you. I mean, I was writing and all that, but I wasn't ever painting. I never took an art lesson, but I started doing some abstract and I enjoyed it. Tommy helped me name them and frame them.
Here's the funny thing about that.
Great. I didn't want to sell them anymore. And I was like, no, give them
There
back.
she goes, Forrest Gumping again.
I did. It was weird.
We are locked down for COVID.
Right.
She decides she's going to start painting. She was doing like 6 a day. It was crazy. This one's a cat. This one's a blob. This one's a, I don't know.
It stopped for some reason. But then someone wanted me to do something for their dentist office.
Somebody saw something that she
Like-
put on Facebook, and now it's the centerpiece of a dental
and they
office
paid me like
somewhere
really
in North
good
Carolina.
money. I'm like, okay, sure.
Oh my gosh.
Here you go.
That's great.
Anyway.
That's great.
It was fun. I haven't done it in a year. But.
So let's talk about any upcoming events. Do you have anything lined up?
Yes, we play at the world-famous Trailer Bar on June 3rd in the afternoon, 3 to 6. Then the following week, we play at Lorelei's. I believe it's on the Thursday from 6 to 9. And then that Sunday back at Backyard Tavern on June 11th, 2 to 5. Free hamburgers, great venue with new owners and new patio. But all the schedules on my Facebook.
Backyard Tavern, that's in Sneads Ferry?
Yes, it's great.
Where's Lorelei's?
Lorelei's is also in Sneads Ferry. It's a
okay.
very fun sports bar.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, those are the upcoming local shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you recording any new music or albums?
I have some things in the can that I just did that I don't want to release yet.
Okay.
And because I wrote them a while back and they're not really how I feel about life right now. So I put them in the can. I haven't released them.
Okay.
So I usually have something new coming out about once a year, every 2 years, but I'm in an incubation phase right now. So I don't have anything brand new coming out. I have some things started, but they're not all the way fully formed yet.
I'm going to pick your artist brain here just for a minute.
Yes.
So you wrote something, you put it in the can. It's not how you feel today. Does that mean it's going to just stay in the can, or you think you'll go back and revisit it one day?
I knew that I had to record it because I had written it 7 years ago, but I didn't like the chords. And so I brought someone else in to give me some new chord vibes. And I still really like it. It's just my frame of mind changes every few years. And I'm a much more positive person now. And I was a little more tortured soul when I would write back then. But I wanted to record it. So it's still good, but it's just not really where I'm at today. So I don't know when I'm going to release it. I don't know if I will.
How interesting. Yeah,
But
that's
I had
really
to do
cool.
it. I had to record it.
A lot of the kind of wonderful things that have been said about what she does throughout the industry, emotive, she's got that kind of warm contralto voice. A lot of what she does is very emotional. You feel it. It makes your hair stand up, and some of it's sad. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. But since having come to the beach, it's tank tops and flip flops.
Since I met Tom.
yeah, so
You started making me laugh.
it's like she went from a
All the
minor
time.
key to a major key kind of thing.
I never laughed before you. I just cried all the time. It's true.
That's a slight exaggeration.
No, it's not.
but-
No, it's not. No. I won't tell him about the self-portrait you helped me with.
How do you mute this?
That was the nude portrait he helped me with.
No, it's
I
true.
don't even know how to
It's not
respond
true.
to that.
This is absolutely not true. This is
It
not
is
true.
so true.
Okay. I was wondering if you might play a little bit for me.
This is her newest guitar, and it's a 61.
It's a 61.
Go all the way back to
1961.
1948. She only plays
really?
all the other musicians. Of course, they're not into the vintage stuff because they're very expensive and tough to keep alive, especially in the salt air. But it's all
yeah.
she will play is this crazy old stuff.
So Living on Island Time, of course, is all about living here. This song right here is the song that ended up being my bread and butter song.
Oh, really?
Grey's Anatomy.
And it started out in Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah?
But it's the one that got used for all the promo songs for the Showtime shows. But mostly I wrote it for a friend who was feeling down. And it was really just intended to make her feel better. And it was one of those songs that I felt coming on. And I really just wrote it in like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I think the reason why, and it most recently also is going to be on a TV show in 2 weeks called Cruel Summer. So it's recently being picked for stuff. And I know what I think it's the message. because it's a song about not letting your circumstances define you and hold you back. And it's a song about getting up and showing up and then letting God meet you where you are. It's about seeing the glass half full and not half empty, and it's turned into a rock anthem, so I guess that's why God keeps using it, because I wrote this song 20 years ago. I'll just play a little piece of it, but let's see, it goes like this. Rise up off the ground where you lay. You've been laying there so long that you just about have forgotten how to live your life. Well, you can't find where you belong, no. Can't find where you fit in. Don't you think it's time you gave your life a chance again? You're ready, ready to rise. You're ready, ready to rise. You're ready, ready to rise. You're ready to rise, ready to rise, ready to go. You've been watching your life like a movie show. You're ready to rock, ready to roll. Break it down and take it real slow. So that's like the first half of it.
Beautiful.
It's called Ready to Rise.
And that one you said was just chosen to be on Cruel
Summer.
Cruel Summer.
It's a Freeform. Is that the network Freeform, Tommy?
I believe it's NBC, Disney, Freeform.
And it's kicked off a
streaming.
lot of shows on Laguna Beach, on MTV, ABC's Wildfire. It's been on a couple of movies in Europe. It's been on the Showtime promo for Nurse Jackie and L Word and Weeds of Californication. And then it's been the Grey's Anatomy song and some other things. And I don't know why, but it keeps getting picked. So it has to be the message.
I
think it
feel
is.
so honored that you can sit here with me today and play that for the podcast. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. That's
I
the way it
really
was
love
written. And then when you play the full produced version, you can hear the difference because it's a gigantic difference. But I like to hear songs unplugged. And when I play around town, I just play unplugged the way they were written organically.
I feel
stripped
so
down.
lucky right now. Like, honestly, I could
We're
cry.
the lucky ones.
Okay. Gosh, really thank you
You're
from
welcome.
the bottom of my heart.
Oh, yeah.
So, any final thoughts from either one of you? What do you want the listeners to know about Vaughan Penn?
Oh, just how much I love them and how much I love the people that come out to the shows, that connect with us, that we try to make the shows, and Tommy's such a big part of it, a place that you can come and count on a hug. You can count on some love and a good, you got to come out. So
I will.
We like to add people to our tribe, and we think of that. So I think support local, everyone. It's so important. Support each other's business, whatever that is. And that's it. But thank you for supporting my music and our thing.
My pleasure. 100% my pleasure.
Thank you.
I want to tell everyone how to contact Vaughan Penn. You can find and follow Vaughan Penn on Facebook and Instagram.
Her website gets a lot of traffic, and that's vaughanpenn.com.
Let's spell Vaughan. Some people may not know how to spell that. VAUGHANPENN.com. And what is the email address?
vaughanpenn@yahoo.com.
VaughanPenn@yahoo.com. So thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Vaughan. I appreciate it so much. And thank you, listeners.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I will tell you, this is the best podcast studio I've ever been in.
Ever.
There's
I
a puppy
know,
in
right?
a 4-poster bed. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Adorable. You're
So professional here.
It is.
Yeah.
good. We support you.
Thank
And
you very much.
Congratulations on your podcast.
I just want to
you.
say, I had to pull him into the bedroom.
He did. She did.
Wait, that sounded really bad.
It's
What
set
I
up
meant to
nice.
say was there was problems in another room I was having, so we set up a very makeshift studio today in my bedroom.
It's
But
perfect,
It's
and you're doing a
perfect,
great
puppy.
job. Thank you.
Thank you, listeners. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks again, Vaughan and Tommy. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Rise up off the ground where you lay. You've been laying there so long. You just about have forgotten how to live your life. Well, you can't find where you belong. No, you can't find where you fit in. Don't you think it's time you gave your life a chance again? You're ready to rise. 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 You're ready to rise.
Hey, thank you for joining me today on Topsail Insider. If you liked today's episode, please hit the follow or subscribe button so that you can get the Topsail Insider podcast delivered automatically to whichever podcast platform you're listening on. And if you're a business owner and you wish to set up a pre-interview or you want to advertise, please email me at topsailinsider@gmail.com. Please also find and like the Topsail Insider Facebook page. I provide links to the new podcast there each week, as well as providing photos of the businesses that I'm highlighting, along with any of their upcoming events. So hey, let's do this again next week. I'll see you around Topsail.